Well, here we are sitting on the sky deck of Eureka Tower. We're on the 88th floor, and behind me is this enormous mass of urban sprawl. We've got Melbourne Docklands and we've got the suburbs beyond it. And many people look at this and they see a mess of energy, inefficient ways of living. Here's the worst kind of thing that we could do to our planetary home and our environment. We don't have a decent way of living on Earth as long as we've got this kind of suburban sprawl. And this story is repeated all over the world. It's not just in Melbourne, it's not just in Australia, it's in California, it's in the United States in general, it's in parts of Europe, it's in South America. What drives people not to care for their environment? Why is it that we spend so much time destroying the environment and so little time caring for it? Human beings are gradually displacing other animals, other plants, we're destroying forests, we're changing even the climate, and in changing the climate we're actually making life more difficult for human beings as well as the other life forms we share the Earth with. Now, one of the interesting issues that comes up here is what drives our environmental destructiveness. Why do we think so little about the environment when we're planning our cities, when we're planning our lives? And this is a question we can raise about ourselves as individuals, and it's a question we can raise about ourselves in society, in the way that we organize ourselves as groups as well. And one of the things we've been looking at recently is whether there are certain belief structures that human beings have that actually drive environmental destructiveness. Feminists, for example, have argued that patriarchy, the fact that we have a society that's dominated by certain kinds of male values and male thinking, is actually associated with a range of other things such as class distinctions, racial discrimination, and environmental destructiveness. They think patriarchy is connected with all these things, that these are all interlinked systems of belief. Other people, like the historian Lynn White, have argued that it's our religious beliefs, like Christianity, that have separated us from nature, made us think that human beings are something special and something different, and that human beings, therefore, don't need to care about the world because they belong with God and the angels to a quite different realm of being. And one thing that we've done in collaboration with colleagues overseas is actually explore these ideas by testing them through social survey work to find if there's any correlation between patriarchal attitudes and environmentally destructive behavior and environmentally destructive attitudes, or whether there's any relationship between religious beliefs and environmentally protective behavior or environmentally destructive behavior. And we've just got the results in, and they're really quite interesting because they show that there are indeed connections among these different kinds of attitudes and beliefs. We found, for instance, that it's not a question so much of Christianity being connected with environmental destructiveness, but rather that monotheistic religious beliefs in general, whether Islamic, Judaic or Christian, are correlated with a lack of environmentally protective attitudes. In general, the higher you go in terms of your monotheistic commitment, the less likely you are to be protective towards the environment or to hold attitudes that are environmentally protective or that endorse pro-environmental policies. And we found that there's a weak correlation as well between having certain kinds of racial and patriarchal attitudes and being less environmentally protective. But that's not nearly as strong. The feminist claim isn't nearly so well endorsed as the historians claim that religious views play a large part in explaining our environmental attitudes and behavior.